Hello, everyone. This is OG again. We are here to talk about Support 2.0. I'm here with Paul from Uptech. We've covered a number of topics so far in previous videos. Today, Paul, you have a new question for us.
Yeah, hi, AG. So the next one is we've spoke about what support 2.0 and what the model is, but let's get into the detail a little bit more. Can we share some examples about how we've successfully delivered and driven change for clients using this support 2.0 model?
Yes, I think it's important to try to contextualize and use some success story here. And obviously, some of you are already, using it, but many of you are not yet fully leveraging all those capabilities. And you might have a support model that, can be improved. And I've even discussed with some people who consider that, they are still using Stone Age, type of model. So examples, right? I'm used to work with large companies, and one of our clients uh, had basically outsourced their support to a large service provider. And the way it works typically when you outsource to a large service provider is that you get charged by tickets. So if this was internal support of that company, internal IT support, right? My PC not working, my Wi-Fi not working, whatever. Every time you have a problem and you send it to your service provider, they charge you a certain amount. I don't know, $10 per ticket, average price, can be more, can be less. And when you have like thousands and thousands of tickets per month, this is becoming extremely expensive, right? The other thing you have to understand for the context is that obviously the service provider is not going to be, extremely motivated to reduce all those tickets because they get paid by ticket, right? So the way they are, paid is pushing them not to do a number of things, right? So this is also to be taken into account. So what we did, we worked with the internal IT company to understand all those tickets that they were receiving. We used AI to really categorize and understand the nature of those tickets so that we could correctly identify what type of technology had to be injected, right? So we injected some AI capability to be able to act as the front end, like a virtual agent capability to answer a whole bunch of questions, typical Q&A. You can feed that virtual agent with all your documentation. This is working very well today. The interaction is really great. The quality of the response to typical question is also very great. And we also implemented an automation layer. So for those requests that had to be fulfilled, for those problems that had to be fixed, where the simple interaction answering question, when this was not enough, we implemented some automation layer where we identify clearly what needs to be automated. And this was triggered by the AI. Right? The AI is qualifying the problem by understanding what the user wants or needs. And then once this is correctly qualified, it's actually triggering a automation capability, right? Um, and when this was not possible because it was not 100%, then the idea was to elevate that back to the service provider in that case. And there we enriched the tickets with a lot of information to reduce the effort that the service provider had to do to improve a bunch of KPIs, like, MTTR, for example, right? Overall, this gave us an opportunity to reduce the amount of tickets being sent to that service provider by 50% within 12 months. And this basically means that the bill that was received by our client was reduced by 50% within 12 months, right? So obviously, in that model, this is a perfect model to include an outcome-based type of contract where you only get paid if you achieve something, and you get paid by the savings that you enable within the client environment, right? So this is a very typical example, real example against a large company that we are working with, and this is real life example. If you are not doing that today, you probably want to think about doing it. Maybe Paul, you might have some other example, maybe in smaller environment.
Yeah, yeah. Well, small to large, to be honest, OG. So, I mean, the first example I'll always give is ourselves, right? We actually we actually had a company meeting a couple of weeks ago, and we pulled some of the statistics, which is a nice coincidence. We pulled some of the statistics looking at our support tickets. So we doubled the number of customers that we had over the last 12 months. The number, I mean, and those customers generate a reasonable amount of tickets. We've actually halved the number of tickets for twice the volume of customers. So in effect, we've reduced our tickets by 25%. So that for us is a really, really nice metric to show. I mean, you're practicing what you preach internally, and I mean that we believe if we didn't adopt automation for our own support business, we would need 5 times the number of staff to deliver that service desk. So that's a nice metric.
It is, and
Um,
if I may, it talks about the scalability problem that you are fixing with that, right? It's
yeah,
it's it's not just the cost.
and then if I look at, we sell a lot to MSPs, we sell, and if I look at the common activities, I could, all, you may laugh at this, but if I look at the common activities, I could almost guess if I went to an MSP, what would be the sort of top three, four, five, six? It would be joiners, movers, leavers, password resets, VM memory or storage expansion. It would be service delivery reporting. All of these things occupy so much time. We By doing those 4 or 5 things, you can potentially reduce the amount of time spent by people doing the really boring things by 50, 60, 70% just by picking a handful, maybe 10 or 15 things to fix using the Support 2.0 model.
Yes.
Um, and then the great thing for that then is around, we've already touched on this, around things like customer satisfaction. I mean, for me, we can take away an IT process by kicking off a process from a business system. So a joiner is a great example. Rather than somebody having to raise a ticket, we automatically raise a ticket from a HR system that goes right the way through the system, adds licenses, can even help build laptops, right? We can take it to the nth degree. And this is what I always talk about, end-to-end automation solving a business problem. We don't just tackle the little IT bit in the middle. We can actually start from a business system and then deliver an IT outcome. Um, the big one that I sort of briefly mentioned as well, things like reporting. I know service delivery teams that spend 50% of their time compiling reports to give to customers. So a customer gets a report once a month, once a quarter. We're helping people transform that, get rid of all that time. They simply need to check the data, and we can go from a quarterly report to an on-demand report. And you've just freed that time to actually have the service delivery guys doing the things that they like, talking to customers, actually doing service improvement plans. I mean, that for me is a massive win for some of the organizations. But to put some metrics to it, we've got examples where we've reduced support tickets by 5, 6, 7,000 per month of support tickets by adopting the framework that we've got with Support 2.0. And I think one really, really important thing to point out is when we're delivering this, we're not looking for new tools, right? That's critical. People have invested hundreds of thousands, millions in products like ServiceNow and all these service desk tools. We're not trying to rip those out. We're trying to augment these tools and maximize those investments that customers have already made.
Yeah, exactly. This is very important point, right? We are not trying to push, new shiny object just for the sake of it, right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
the maximization of your existing investment, of your existing platform. By the way, very often we see that some of those platforms, as you mentioned, are sub-utilized. There's a lot of capabilities built in that are not correctly utilized. And we only inject new technology if we see a gap in the architecture, in the environment, right? So this is really important. The idea here is to achieve some outcome. The idea here is to make sure that we have a business impact, and the goal is not to push product for the sake of pushing product. So let's close here. Thanks, Paul, for your time, and see you soon.
Thanks, OJ.